ideally, probably, yeah, make yourself sort of where you think you're going to be comfortable anyway, sitting for a little bit. And probably close your eyes. You can do this with your eyes open, but you might find it a little easier to pay attention if we we're going to be paying attention a lot to what's going on in our body. So if we close out the outside world a little bit, it might make it easier to pay attention to what's going on in your body. So first of all, just bring your attention to your face and let your jaw sort of relax and sort of feel the relaxation that's happening in your jaw. Sort of feel how, just pay attention to that and let that relaxation sort of spread into your head. Relaxing your jaw, notice that, let it spread into your head. Now notice that when you breathe, your shoulders kind of lift, and on the exhale, they soften and relax. You just kind of notice that quality of that relaxation that happens in your shoulders on the exhale. Your body's kind of letting go. Maybe notice that in your shoulders. And notice the sort of quality of that, the sensation of that in your body. Keep coming back to the quality, the sensation of that letting go, that relaxation in your body. And let that from your shoulders kind of spread into your arms and your hands. Now kind of notice that when you inhale, your spine kind of stretches up. And on the exhale, it sort of softens, relaxes. Maybe on the inhale, like all the discs, all the in between your vertebrae, they all sort of like stretch up. And on the exhale, they kind of, on the inhale, they lengthen. On the exhale, they shorten, kind of soften, squish together more. Just notice that on the exhale, that quality of your spine sort of letting go. And keep bringing your attention back to that. And maybe let that relaxation that's happening in your spine sort of spread around to the front of your body and just kind of notice that. Now bring your attention to your legs. Just kind of notice that like your legs aren't holding you up. They don't have to hold you up. There might be something relaxing or nice about the fact that your legs don't have to hold you up. Just kind of notice that feeling of your legs not having to hold you up. The quiet or the relaxation or the sort of special kind of nothingness that goes along with your legs not having to hold you up. And keep coming back to that in your body. Now that we sort of started paying attention to our body and sort of been paying attention to your whole body, see if you can do that for a second. Just see if you can feel relaxation on some level in your whole body if possible. Pay attention to your whole body. Kind of look at your body from the standpoint of your whole body. Or hold it all in your awareness at once. And as you do that, there might be some sensations that come to the surface that you notice. Sensations can be caused by physiological things like your heart beating or your breathing or your stomach gurgling or a full bladder or things like that. Sensations can be caused by energy moving or hot or cold or tension, or the feeling of your clothes on your skin, or the feeling of your butt on your seat, the pressure of the chair against your butt, things like that, or the pressure of the floor against your feet or your legs. Those are all sensations that you might be feeling in your body. And then emotions cause sensations too. You know, if you're angry or happy or sad or whatever, the only reason we know that really is because that there's a sensation in our body. So there's a good chance that as you're checking with your body that there's one of those, at least one of those things to find. Tension or energy moving, or the pressure of your butt on the chair, or maybe the sensation of emotion in your body. And I want you to sort of like pick one of those sensations that you might notice, that you might be noticing. And to help you sort of like point to that sensation, I'm going to use the label feel. And you can just say that to yourself, and you can use it as a way to sort of point to the sensation and kind of keep bringing your attention back there. So whenever you notice it, say to yourself, feel. There might be other things that draw your attention away, like the sound of the fountain, or the sound of the air conditioning, or other sounds, or thoughts. But kind of keep willing yourself to bring your attention back to the sensation that you might be noticing in your body. And that's what we're doing. We're kind of strengthening a certain muscle, a concentration muscle. When we're willing ourselves to bring our attention back to the thing that we're paying attention to. And maybe notice what happens when you bring your attention to the sensation that might be drawing your attention. Maybe it moves, or maybe it intensifies, or maybe it disappears, or maybe it doesn't do anything. Maybe it stays there. But maybe stay on that sensation for a little while and then check into another sensation, somewhere else in your body, some other type of sensation that you might be noticing, and pay attention to that. And when you direct your attention at that, you can use the label feel. For those of you who have done this before, more specifically, that would be feel out. But if you haven't done this before, you just call it feel. It's easier. or really commit to noticing where that sensation is exactly. What are the boundaries of it? What are the boundaries like? Are they fuzzy? Are they clear? Does it radiate that sensation somewhere else? And as you're noticing that, use the label feel to point to it, to sort of direct your attention back to it. Just keep noticing what happens when you bring your focused attention to these sensations. They might do nothing. They might change in some way. Just notice if there are other thoughts or emotions or things that are sounds that you might be hearing, and just keep let those things be there, and just keep bringing your attention back to the sensation in your body and using the label feel. Okay, now we're going to move to another one of the sense gates. And we're going to sort of explore hearing. And so, sort of bring your attention to the sort of space between your ears. And start to notice the sounds that might be coming at you from the outside world. Maybe the fan blowing up there, or the trickle of the water in the fountain out there, or maybe we can hear sounds from outside occasionally, or someone rustling, or someone clearing their throat, or the sound of my voice. And every time you hear one of those sounds, that you notice a sound, you'd say to yourself, "Here." And for those of you who've done this before, that would be "hear out." Hear out. But for those of you who haven't, it's just easy just to say "here," to label it. I suddenly became aware of the fan blowing up there, so I said to myself "here" as I really bring my attention to that sound. Maybe, again, noticing other things like sensations in your body or thoughts. Keep kind of using your will to come back and pay attention to the sounds that might be coming at you from the outside world. Skip around and kind of notice the different sounds that might be arising. outside. I just heard it, so label that as here. Okay, so there are sounds that come at us from the outside, but there are also sounds that come from the inside. That can be a lot of times we have a mental dialogue that's going on in there a lot. Most human beings are pretty, swept along by the constant stream of thoughts and talk that's going on in their head without really noticing it. So we're going to pay attention to that. So bring your attention, and that paying attention to the outside was kind of a warm up there for that, and then bring your attention to the space between your ears where, I don't know, those thoughts the talk might kind of arise. And see if you can notice when there's an internal sound that gets generated. You might be talking to yourself. You might say, oh, why did I agree to doing this? That's here. And for those of you who have done this before, you call that here in, more specifically. But if not, you can just call it here. So there could be a monologue. It could be just your voice. It could be a dialogue. It could be a conversation that you're having with someone else. It could be sounds, music. A lot of times you get a song stuck in your head and you can't get it out. Just check in with that space between your ears and see if you can catch when you are talking to yourself or where there's a sound that gets generated from inside, and label that as here. You don't need to generate any internal talk. You just kind of wait, hang out and wait, and see if you can notice when it arises. And when it does, label that as here. And it's okay if there's some sort of groping or stumbling involved. Just keep bringing your attention to that, to this sound or the talking or whatever that might arise from inside you. If you don't really notice anything, that's fine. Just kind of hang out and wait until you do. And when you do catch yourself saying something to yourself or hear a sound that's internally generated, you can label that as here. Point to it with that label. And you're not labeling the label. Say here and then label that as here. Just label the sound that arises. Kind of like we're throwing little darts as this internal talk comes up. I'm kind of like throw a little dart at it. Like, I see you. See what happens when you see it. Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit from another sense gate. We're going to do C. And so right now, just check in with, again, that space between your head. Maybe the sort of movie, where it's likely to happen, the sort of movie screen of your head. And we're sort of constantly reviewing, like reviewing where we are. Like there's a constant movie going on of a sort of image that shows up of where you are. Maybe you're seeing yourself, maybe you're seeing the room, maybe you're seeing other people in the room, maybe you're seeing things that you've done today, maybe you're seeing things that you want to do after this, maybe you're hungry and so you see a hamburger, things like that. There's all these images popping up in our head. Could be images, they could be clear, they could be fuzzy, it could just be color, shapes of color, or there might not be anything there. It's a possibility that there might not be anything there. But see if you can catch when an image shows up. Like, oh yeah, I just imaged myself sitting in this room. And when I see that happening, I say see. For those of you who've done this before, that would be see in. I label that, point to it as see. Sort of penetrate that image with my attention by labeling it see. There, I keep seeing the room. So when I see that, I label it see. Sort of might seem obvious that you're like, oh yeah, of course I see things in my head. What's the point of noticing that? See if you notice anything happening as you sort of penetrate those images with your attention, with that label. You might find that they start to flow, or you might find that you get more relaxed, or you might find that it brings up other thoughts or tension. Just kind of see what you notice. Okay, so as we start to end this little session here, what I'm going to have you do is just let your eyes crack and look down. Just let them just crack open and have your eyes resting and looking down at the floor. And just notice the shapes that you see on the outside world, coming at you from the outside world. Maybe you see your feet in front of you, the floor. Maybe if you're close enough, you can see my notebook. Maybe you see the person in front of you. Point to the sort of images that are coming to you from the outside world with that label. See. Every time you move your eyes, there's a new image that arises. Say see. Label that new image as see. And for those of you who've done this before, that would be see out. keep being aware of what you're seeing. Notice the images that are coming at you from the outside world. Whenever you label them as see. Whenever you move your eyes, it's a new image. Label that as see. And when you're ready, you can kind of start to let your eyes open more fully. Still being aware of what the images that are coming at you from the outside world and labeling them as see. You might also find that you zoom in or you zoom out. Every time there's a change, you zoom in, look at something, like you look at I'm looking at someone's finger as opposed to the whole person. I'm saying see as I change that. Now I see their whole hand. See. The image changes, so I label it as see. Are ready, and let that go.